Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom to an only child in 3rd grade. Today I have a bit of an update, and it's kind of a pain in the butt one, but like we have to talk about it. So keep watching, please. All right, so we just wrapped up our end of our 3rd week of homeschool to our new year, and it has been a literal whirlwind. So much to catch you up on. So I knew right off the bat when we started 3 weeks ago that Apologia was what we were starting our math with. I'm sorry if the lighting, I don't have my ring light on, but I'm sorry if it's a little dark. But we were starting out with Apologia, and I did a whole video. I think I did a flip through as well. But in my opinion, it looked like the perfect curriculum. I can show you what I mean by that here in a second. Okay, so I loved it because the instruction was instruction, and then the mix practice pages was, I love the way they were laid out, and there wasn't a ton of things on a page. And it really, if we're going to compare it to, let's say, The Good and the Beautiful. I just want to get a good one so you guys can really see here what I'm talking about. The Good and the Beautiful, as you can see, there's a lot on a page, like a lot, and it's kind of all over the place. And then there's an extra page after that. But this is it. This is it for the lesson in Apologia. Now, there are things that are needed to do outside of the lesson, like practice, and I could appreciate that it's not torn in or put into the lesson. It's kind of like an additional side things, whether you play games, whatever. The first couple lessons, me and her were both confused, as each lesson in this book starts out with a activity. So the activity is almost kind of what starts to teach the lesson. And so it's necessary to do the activity, but there is an activity that starts out every single lesson. Now, you may not need anything to, like, it's not like I need a million manipulatives. A lot of times they have the manipulatives already for you in the back of the book, and you just need to rip it out and cut it out, or in the back of the teacher's manual. So you definitely need the teacher's manual when you're using Apologia, as that is going to give you everything. Now, it does not teach it though. So that's really something I want to make sure people understand when they're getting, or when they're looking into Apologia, is it's not going to give you this like word for word separate thing in the teacher's manual. It's not going to do that. It's going to be very simple, and like it'll give you a paragraph of maybe how to prepare something, or you know, I mean, and then it has the answers. But it comes with like unit skill evaluations. So like it tells you what your daily skill practices should be for the entire unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, the different activities that you can do and stuff like that. So keep in mind, like this is important. And then on their website you can also plug in, every book comes with a code, and then you can plug in the code on their website to get extra practice pages. So they call them like the extras, and they're just like extra simple practice pages. So the first 2 activities, I was like, well, that's it. Like, we're done. Like, this didn't seem like it was enough. And the way some of the things were worded seemed a little, like we both were confused, and I was losing her attention, which was frustrating me because I didn't know what I was doing and I was confused by it myself. And then I had to reread it a couple times, and then I understood the concept and how to present it to her. But I was like, do you want to go back to the Good and the Beautiful Math? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay. So I had the Good and the Beautiful Math already before I had decided to switch to Apologia. So I had the Good and the Beautiful, or simply Good and Beautiful Math 3 on hand. But that, there's like a huge jump from book 2 to book 3, in my opinion. And it starts out, there's just a lot. It's a lot. So it's like one drastic thing from the other. Like, you do a little bit and then you do a lot of it from each book. But she was understanding the concepts, but I think she was just, again, she was getting frustrated because so much was on a page and it seemed overwhelming. Now I could have ripped the pages out. I could have probably folded them in half to make it easier, but like, I shouldn't have to do that. And because it seemed like such a drastic jump, I feel like they should have focused more on the skip counting before jumping into multiplication, because she was still not solid with her 3s and solid with any other number above 3, other than like 5s and 10s and like the big ones like that. So, and then their way of like memorizing multiplication was to memorize random groups of multiplication facts, and that was probably the kicker for me, that I was like, I'm just gonna confuse her. She understands how to do a multiplication problem and by repeated addition, but like, it's a lot easier to do the repeated addition if you know all your skip counting, which I feel like there was like a lag there. But for just to give you an example, like this is set A that they say need to be done in unit 1. So it's like randomly 3 times 5, 4 times 3, 6 times 6, 4 times 8, 3 times 3, 9 times 9, 5 times 5, 8 times 4, 4 times 6, 5 times 3, 6 times 4. Like, we weren't going in order, and like they have an explanation of why they don't believe you have to go in order, that it's mostly purely based on memorization. But here's the thing, like, some kids are just going to need to go in order. I need her to memorize, yes, but I need her to memorize them in a way that is comprehensible for her. I don't think she's learning it that way by just, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a good math person myself. I went on this long thing and I was like, we can't do this. I don't know what to do. So I did order a Becca, which I knew it was crazy, but I really wanted to stick with the color theme. And so I ordered a Becca. I got the teacher's manual, which if you guys have ever ordered a Becca, I tried to like limit, but it's literally just the answer key. Like, it does not teach the lesson in the teacher's manual. So of course then you have to buy the lesson plan, which, especially me who's not good with math, like, I need something that's going to explain and tell me what to do. Otherwise, I'm not going to serve her as a good teacher in math because I'm just not strong in math. So I got the lesson plans and I'm looking and I'm like, holy wow. Like, this is lesson 1, 2, whole pages and a half on the third page. And a lot of it was like, use our concept cards, use our flashcards, use this, use that. And it was like, oh my gosh, like there is so much. Abeka is so much. And I realize this is more for like a classroom setting, not really a homeschool setting. And a lot of people will just go and buy the student workbook. But here's the thing, this is very advanced. It jumps really quick into multiplication. It does go in order, which I liked, but I loved how like clean cut and clear the pages were, but it's just advanced, and the explanation is very, very simple, like a normal like workbook would be at like the top. And so I needed more to explain how it works per se, especially for someone who's not strong in math. So immediately I rolled that out. I'm like, you know what? It's a lot. It came with the speed test and drills, which is in color, and is nice. I mean, I don't think would ever have used it. It just came with it. I don't know. Would I keep this maybe for like extra help? Maybe. I don't know. And maybe once we grasp onto some concepts a little bit better, because Apologia is a gentler approach. So I'm all over the place. I apologize, but it's been a whirlwind over 3 weeks. So anyway, today I made the decision to go back and continue Apologia. She needs a gentle approach, and I'm okay with that because I need her to build on that foundational stuff before we move on to the hard stuff. And if this is going to give 30 lessons or so before we really dive into the hard stuff, you know, I'm okay with that. I think multiplication was introduced in chapter 3, so that was like 20 lessons in. So it's giving us 20 lessons before jumping into multiplication. So just a lot of review. I have these skip counting cards. We are going to memorize our skip counting and really firm up on the ones that I don't feel like the Good and the Beautiful did. And then we could start working our way into multiplication, flashcards and facts and activities and stuff like that. So things were changing. If some people might have saw in a video that we were doing the Good and the Beautiful 3, but we are back to Apologia. Now, will I for sure say that we're gonna stick with that through level 6? I don't know. We're literally making this choice every day that we're homeschooling. The next thing is that we were going to try Saxon 3, and I breezed through it briefly, and while I do think it's great, I just don't think it's for us. And mostly is because my child has a hard enough time sitting down to do the math in a colorful workbook. I can't imagine putting a black and white one in front of her with no pictures or any fun things on the page to look at, or activities, or it's a lot of problems to do and stuff like that. And I don't want to overwhelm her until she's confident with her math. So that could be a possibility going forward in the future as well, because I know they have the video options with Nicole, the math lady. So that was math. And I thought that like our dilemma would have been over, but we are making another change. So we are no longer continuing BJU Press English 3. This was the hardest for me to let go, because I'm like, now what? What do I do? And Molly actually came to me and said, I want to do the Good and the Beautiful. Now, I was very, very hesitant because I know I left the Good and the Beautiful for reasons that I didn't even remember at the time, until I went back and watched some of my past videos and had a friend basically encourage me to go back. But yet, now that we are back, I could tell you right now, yes, it's easier. We are back into the ease of like getting things done and not fighting a battle, because English 3 BJU gave us the battle. I mean, it is very rigorous and very thorough, and it's great. I'm not saying the curriculum is bad at all. It's just not the right fit for us. The workbook is not enough, in my opinion, to do without the teacher's manual, and maybe I'm just not a strong enough teacher to teach it without the teacher's manual. I don't know. Or it's just not enough examples for me to be able to help teach it to her. But this is a lot. I mean, this is like a classroom setup. So if you don't know how to piece through some of this stuff, it becomes very tedious. And it was taking us like an hour for me to teach the lesson and go into the workbook with her, as I am supposed to guide her through some of the workbook and not for her to do it on her own, except some areas. And then I had other workbook pages that I was supposed to print out and instruct her on that as well. So it just became like this fight. And honestly, like, the grammar is great, yes, but like, I'm really just like, do we really need to know this? Like, I don't pick apart sentences. Like, I don't need to pick apart a sentence. I just know how to write one, and she knows how to write one. So I was like battling this in my head of like, do we need this? Why do we need this? And so anyway, I agreed to go back to The Good and the Beautiful. I did do the free PDF because I'm still not 100% convinced that that's what we're going to stick to. So I printed the PDF. I'm remembering now why I don't love it anymore, and it's because we were starting to skip a lot in the last one, and I'm trying not to do that. But honestly, if there's any type of phonics, like any type of phonics where we're teaching, oh gosh, of course now the ones I'm looking at are like not phonics lessons. Okay, so like this is lesson 12, like in the spelling book. If we're redoing the rules of like CH and TCH, and she's not going to remember those rules. Like, I don't even remember those rules, and I'm the one teaching it to her. I don't have that kind of memory absorption. And then when I read something, I'm not gonna like think, oh, there's my spelling rule, oh, there's my phonics rule. It's just, it's not how my brain works, and I know it's not how her brain works, and that's not how majority of people's brains work. And because she's such an advanced reader, I just don't feel like the phonics are necessary except for spelling. And even then, she's a pretty decent speller. So I don't know, maybe I'm a lunatic for not having the perfect curriculum here for us to do, but it's just, there is no perfect curriculum. And I think I'm just going to have to continue to piece things together. So that is what I've decided to do. We are reading, because I did purchase the books, we are reading through a book together with The Good and the Beautiful, and she's able to complete the lesson. It's fine, and it's simple for her because she just reads the words. So it's not a big deal. She does understand the concepts, but I just don't think they're needed or necessary. So I'm going to debate whether we're going to skip some of that. But there are other good aspects, like they are having them write, they are doing the geography, they are doing the art and stuff like that, which are components that she really enjoys. So it's okay. I never thought I'd be back to The Good and the Beautiful for language arts, but here we are, and it's fine. I know she's going to learn, and I know she's going to come out a great educated student on top of it. So I think I'm just stressing because we're always wanting to have the best for our kids, and I think that she's going to have a great education. Thank you for the reminders out there from some of you. She's going to have a great education no matter which curriculum I pick, because I am doing what I'm doing right now. I'm questioning and trying all the things to make it work for her. So it is working. It is what she requested, and we're back to it. Now, we are still doing our spelling book, and I am not 100% on it, it can feel somewhat like busy work. But this is the Zahner Bloser spelling connections. I don't hate it, but it is sort of confusing for her because it does incorporate like the phonics in, like write them in alphabetical order, write the spelling words that follow a pattern. And some of it is like me just reminding her how, like saying it out loud for her to understand it, because sometimes just reading the direction in the book isn't necessarily 100% understandable. You know, just like write one syllable word that ends with a consonant, and remember that a consonant digraph is two or more letters that work together to make one sound. Circle the consonant digraphs. Like, as long as she's writing the word, I don't need her to circle that. I mean, it's not necessary. Or it'll be like, write the spelling words with double consonants that make only one sound, and dictionary check, use a dictionary to divide these words into syllables. So some of this stuff is just a little bit, it's not like something that she just reads and just understands all the time. And sometimes I even have to like look back and be like, no, that's not it. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's not a do or die situation for me for spelling, because I could just take the spelling words out of there and create or pick the pages or skip the sections out of the 5 sections for her to do. We are still doing Mostas. Mostas is great. We are not doing the workbook though. I think the workbook added on with The Good and the Beautiful is just too much. And we're only doing Mostas 1 day a week. So we're reading one story from Mostas a week, and then we'll ask some comprehension questions and stuff like that. I love the stories in Mostas, and I do think it's a great addition to our week. We are still doing our 50 States by Knotgrass. We love it. She loves that so much, like so much. And we are doing the history from Curiosity Chronicled, and she absolutely loves history. So this history and geography, like she is hooked and wants to do it multiple times a week, and I'm just like, no, we have other things we have to do. So we are only doing both of those once a week. So we do 50 States on Thursdays and history on Mondays. But we just did our science, which we're doing twice a week, and we're loving that so far. It's just a matter of getting in a hang of how to use a new curriculum. It does have an audiobook, which I love, but I haven't figured out how to play the audiobook to be able to pause, and it'll pick back up where you paused it at. So that is something that I'm gonna have to figure out, or maybe it's not an option, I don't know. But we loved it. We just did an experiment, which I filmed, and that is going to come up after this video this week. So stay tuned and look for that. It was really fun. She really enjoyed it, and it was overall easy. It took us about an hour to prep everything, and everything I had was prepped. Don't get me wrong. Like, I had all the supplies. It was just a matter of following the steps and getting it set up. So it was a little time extensive, but it's an experiment. I mean, I don't expect an experiment to be done in 10 minutes, so I'm okay with that, because there really wasn't a whole lot else to do along with the experiment today. So everything else is pretty much good. I just hauled and went back and forth with like what we were doing as far as reading and math, or English and math. I do have Beowulf grammar. So the only other option for me is that if we do end up finishing very quick with language arts, that I may go back like I was last year and add in a page from Beowulf grammar and get in some more grammar, because I feel like the grammar is not as prevalent as the phonics and other stuff in The Good and the Beautiful. So we are doing handwriting. She loves the handwriting, but I have her only doing it like twice a week. So she's like, what? Usually I do handwriting every day. And I'm like, well, shouldn't you be happy you're not doing it every day now? So bye-bye BJU, bye-bye The Good and the Beautiful, math, and let's see if this works. I can't tell you how many times I've printed out a new schedule. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and forth, and I have all this curriculum that I now either need to resell or try to return that's not used, and go from there, because it's been a very crazy 3 weeks. If you're still listening, thank you so much. There's really no other crazy updates other than now we have about 3 weeks until we go on our next vacation. And that's going to be coming up super quick. And I'm going to be having some videos out for you on me prepping for that vacation, because we are schooling on vacation. We are going to be gone for 2-ish weeks. So I will be bringing things, and I will let you know how I decide to go about that. It's probably going to be a lot of photocopying so that I'm not carrying crazy amounts of textbooks, which is totally fine, because, you know, we have very limited space as far as what we can bring. So yeah, I'm sorry this video was crazy, and I'm sure you guys think I'm a lunatic because I'm constantly changing curriculum this year, and I did everything all different this year, and I really had high hopes. It just sucks when things aren't the way you want them to be, and I have this like vision, but I just don't think there's a curriculum out there that's going to fulfill it completely. I think I'm just gonna have to take here and from there and make it like our own personalized curriculum. But it does help like companies like The Good and the Beautiful who have the free PDF, so I don't have to spend that money if I'm also going to then need to supplement it and stuff like that. So thank you so much for listening. Let me know how your year is going. Have you started? When are you starting? Are you making changes? Are you anything nervous about? Let me know in the comments. And please hit that subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.